Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to write a position paper that is sure to impress step by step, so let's get started. Your position paper will allow you to explain and support your stance on a debate topic and describe your own solutions to a given issue. It will be 4 to 6 paragraphs total, so that includes one introductory and one concluding paragraph, as well as 2 to 3 body paragraphs in between. So before you even start writing your position paper, you have to research. There are a couple of steps that you need to take in order to thoroughly research your topic and familiarize yourself with it. So first, you'll read the brief, which is a really long document that explains all the nuances of your topic. Sometimes what I like to do is write notes on my brief just so that I really kind of get to know the information well. And also at the very end of the brief, there will be discussion questions or a prompt, which is the exact prompt you need to answer in your position paper. That's what your thesis will be focused on. So you need to become an expert on your topic. In order to do that, I'll talk a little bit more about where you can find more information and how to research. But ultimately, you need to find the stance of your party or your constituents in order to effectively come up with your own solutions to the topic. And at the very end, you'll outline your own proposals. Here are a few places where you can research. So you can look up credible websites, especially those that end with .gov, because you know that it's coming directly from our government. I highly recommend that you integrate court cases in your position paper because that shows your expertise on Supreme Court cases, constitutional law, and existing laws. And oyas.org is a great resource that has summaries of Supreme Court cases as well as the decisions that come out of these cases. So you can also use scholarly articles. Those are the kind of articles that come from Google Scholar or academic databases, and you can include chunks from those articles as quotes in your paper. News articles are also a great resource. Just make sure that they're coming from a reputable newspaper such as the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. And legislation and policy is definitely recommended to include in your paper, especially those listed under congress.gov. You can find the full text of bills and laws that have been passed there. And also make sure to use think tanks to find statistics on your topic. I'm going to show you how I structured my introductory paragraph for a position paper I wrote freshman year. So my prompt was, what measures should Congress take to oversee the agricultural biotechnology industry? So that refers to the industry which genetically modifies crops or seeds to bring out the most beneficial traits in these organisms or in these objects. So for my thesis, I wrote the following. By labeling all genetically modified foods, allowing independent testing and facilitating collaborative research between biotechnology companies and the FDA, the federal government can regulate the agricultural biotechnology industry. So the thesis should be the very last sentence of your introductory paragraph, but notice how I structured it. It's a typical 3-point parallel structured thesis. So I've underlined, each point in this thesis, so each point corresponds to a specific body paragraph. So for example, point 1 is what I will be talking about in body paragraph 1. Point 2 is what I'll be focusing on in body paragraph 2, and the same for point 3. And at the very end of the thesis, I've stated my ultimate goal. So what exactly goes in your introduction before your thesis? You'll be including background information on your topic. So something that's really important is that you should never repeat any information from your brief in your introduction because your reader already knows all of that information. It would just be redundant to repeat the same facts. So instead, you'll include information that corresponds to each point made in your thesis. So for example, point 1 of my thesis talks about labeling all genetically modified foods. In my background information, I might talk about how corporations are currently not required to label GMO products, making consumers unaware of the potential effects. And point 2 talks about allowing independent testing. So in my background information, I would elaborate on that, describing how currently companies can reject independent scientists who want to conduct experiments on patented products, leading to biased, unreliable research. And the same thing goes for point 3. Your body paragraphs should follow the same structure. You'll have a topic sentence, which describes the main goal of the paragraph in total, and you'll have your first claim, which explains what exactly are you going to do in order to achieve the goal stated in the topic sentence. To support that claim, you'll list out your evidence and then analyze your evidence. You'll repeat that for however many claims you have in your body paragraph. It's kind of recommended to have roughly 3 to 5 claims, but it's pretty flexible, so a little bit more or a little bit over would be fine as well. And at the very end, you'll include a transition into your next body paragraph. Here is one of my body paragraphs for this essay. So you can see that the topic sentence is, the Environmental Protection Agency's patent laws must be reformed to permit non-commercial testing in order to obtain unbiased research and learn about the biological and environmental effects of GMOs. So clearly, I'm stating in my topic sentence what my goal is. My goal is that the EPA's patent laws should be reformed. And I'm also specifically highlighting 2 reasons why the EPA's laws should be reformed. So to obtain unbiased research and learn about the effects of GMOs. For my evidence, notice how I integrated a quote into my sentence here. I included a quote from a specific resource and also attributed it to an individual. You don't necessarily always have to do that, but I chose to do that in this case. I said that this quote comes from Elson J. Shields, an entomologist at Cornell University, and I also notice how I also described who this person is to prove that they're a credible resource. Also, you can see this little number at the very end of the sentence, and that is corresponding to our footnote citation. So if we scroll down to the bottom here, you can see the full citation, full MLA citation I included of the source where I found this quote. So for any type of evidence that you include in your paper, whether it's a statistic, a quote, any sort of evidence, you must always include a footnote citation to show where exactly that piece of information came from. In your conclusion, you will restate your thesis first. Then you will summarize your main points really briefly. It can be 1 to 3 sentences. And I always like to end with a plan of action for the future. Here are a couple of questions you can answer in your conclusion. So, how will you gain bipartisan support? How do you plan to compromise with the other party, the other side, in order to come up with a comprehensive solution? Will you have to modify existing laws or create new organizations? And most importantly, how will you measure the efficacy of your proposals or the effectiveness of your solutions? You must always remember to include a works cited page at the very end of your position paper. It looks pretty different from the typical double-spaced MLA-style bibliography, but in this case, we'll just have a single-spaced works cited, include the citation in all the citations in alphabetical order, and always remember to indent the second line. And what I like to do is just plug in my sources into easybib.com to figure out what the correct citation is. That's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion. And always remember to include the link to the website at the end of the citation. I know that this works cited page looks a little bit different because MLA rules have changed since this paper was written, but as long as you use EasyBib, you should be good. That's it for this video, guys. If you found it helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more instructional writing tutorials. And if you have any questions about the position paper, or if you'd like me to look over your thesis or any sort of parts of the paper, put it in the comments section below. I will see you next time.